had a pretty good game on Echo against Life. I remember like a pretty decent macro game, but he still went down. And he still is just another one of these Prime players that just has not found that luck at all. He's 1-7 currently.
Yeah. 3-5 versus Hurricane is generous, considering that most of that was from his MVP days, probably in the GSTL, most of those games. Because it said including unofficial, so that could be even like old Wings of Liberty games as well. So when Hurricane is using the ID tier, Hurricane definitely has had a rough start to his Heart of the Swarm career, but he's definitely starting to bring it back a little bit.
He does gain some points because he's using Moonlade's favorite song, Trumpets. Anybody can ask Moonlade. This is actually his favorite song overall, out of any of the songs that come out here in Pro League.
I like this song. It's not my favorite, but I like it a lot. And shout-outs to Moonlade. Hurricane trying to redeem himself, I feel, for some of his past mistakes he's made. I feel like one of his most fortunate things that ever happened to him in his career was he was able to get picked up by a Kesper team despite having a lack of results, and they definitely have helped him grow here.
Yeah, I think he's doing decently in individual leagues, making GSL, I believe, Code S.
Yeah.
So not bad there. He's starting to do a bit better. Let's see how this game can go here. Game number 2 on Terraform. Up here in the top left, in the purple, our Terran player from Prime, it is KeeN.
And our Protoss player in the bottom right in blue is Hurricane.
Yeah, funny enough, he comes out on this map. It's kind of like a hurricane, you know. It's a big swirl here in the middle.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. So this is a very classic matchup between these two. If you think back to the old days, this reminds me of the old GSTL where KeeN is one of the stronger Terrans on MVP, and of course Hurricane was playing under the ID tier or Epic's Open, and used to they go way back, and they both have actually had their struggles switching over. A lot of these old ESF players that never got adopted into Kesper teams early on, like for example Hurricane was not pulled into Samsung until I believe last season. He wasn't there in the very initial split.
Yeah.
Because he was still playing on Epic's Open for quite a while before that team disbanded. So there's some became FOU again for like a brief amount of time. But these players have kind of struggled to transition. Whereas like a player like Maru jumped in right away in 2014 and became one of the best players in the world, even though he was decent at best in the old days. Whereas I feel like KeeN was better than decent. Tier was better than decent. Like these players were winning much more than Maru was, more consistently. And Maru was dragged from Prime to Gen Air, and he goes to the top. And some of these other ESF players really struggled.
Yeah. I forget who I was talking to this about, but do you think overall, like, all the Prime players that left Prime and went to, like, these big Kespa teams and joined, like, a decent team overall, you know, that had the funds to back, like, a great practice environment in the team house and stuff, a lot of them went on to actually be pretty decent when you think about it.
Even if you want to look at one of the more recent examples, that's possibly more of a controversial example, is Myungshik, right? He went to KT Rolster, and then, of course, went to Spenu later on. Or he was from KT Rolster to Prime and then to Spenu, I believe. It's a weird path that he took. Yeah. But now he's on Spenu. He's doing really, really well for himself. You know, he's still doing a lot of all-ins. He's definitely, his play sometimes lacks depth. But on the other hand, he is doing decently well, and in that, you know, sort of aggressive style is working for him. Sometimes in Star League, in the GSL, in Pro League as well. You can see this player who looked really weak on Prime, had some merits, and then goes into another team and suddenly becomes very consistent. I think that's really important, and I'm glad you point that out because I feel like Prime's practice environment is quite weak, and the morale is even weaker. It's got to be a terrible place. While you're losing your best player, you've got a tiny room where the Chinese players aren't even here. They're not even able to practice with them yet.
Yeah, I mean, the current status of the Prime house now is that they have 4 players, right? Plus the 3 Chinese players that can't even play. So they have to play the same 4 players, the same 4 players that aren't really practicing, obviously, and they come out and they get shreked every time. Like, to be totally upfront, it's kind of sad to see.
Oh, wow.
What?
Double CC is becoming much more popular in this matchup right now.
Yeah, but not on the low ground on this map.
Right? I was going to say, especially after Flash did it, but it was not this map. He did it on the high ground.
Yeah.
We saw Bomber do this as well yesterday, right? It's the fast third to see, but not on the low ground.
It's usually on gigantic maps, like think Cactus Valley, think Bonnie Research Station is like the only 2-player map we ever see it on. And I don't know, man. If Hurricane ever sees this, KeeN is just going to straight up like fall over and die. Usually the only reason you can hold this is because you play very defensive on 2 bases, and usually the Protoss is playing passive as well. But as we're seeing slowly over time here, Protoss is building more and more Stargates, just like Hurricane is doing. You know, I'm not liking KeeN's situation in this game, to say the least.
Well, neither am I. Keep in mind that Hurricane is, interestingly enough, though, working on his own rocks. Now, if he comes over here and sees... he's not going to actually commit to the poke. He's working on his own rocks defensively. I think he's expecting more aggression out of KeeN because that's KeeN's normal style, so KeeN is definitely changing it up with this. He does scout the Oracle as well, which Hurricane is probably very frustrated with. This could work out. I mean, this is definitely a tough situation for KeeN to hold, but if it goes unscouted, if Hurricane misjudges the situation, this could work out really well for him.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. Is Hurricane going to scout it? Is he going to put on pressure with those Stalkers and the Oracle? Because if he does, he may just like straight up kill KeeN. And he is actually going to scout it here with the probe, funnily enough.
Wow, that's actually... that's really smart. It is going to be a bit delayed, so this robotics definitely delaying a second Oracle, which could be, you know, a quite strong follow-up to the first Oracle. See how much damage that gets on, because there's no turrets here. Despite the fact that he scouted the Oracle, when we keep that in mind, it's just hard to afford an eBay along with everything else, plus the turrets. The turret is coming up now, but it's a bit late. He's got a few Marines here in decent position.
Yeah, he's got them split up, and like, he's got enough together so that he can push away one single Oracle, and that he does a decent job of it. Only 1 kill on his Oracle, but he does scout that third base, but it may just be too late. I mean, there is going to be a missile turret already up, so...
Yeah. Notice that KeeN put the missile turret at the third specifically because it was the most vulnerable. Now the Oracle's going to struggle to get, you know, serious damage done here. In fact, now out of energy by the time it arrives. If he had a second Oracle right now, definitely could have committed to a lot more. Immediately a scan goes down. Is it going to all-in me behind this? Is he adding a ton of gateways? Where's the Robo Bay? And he wants to scout now if he can. The third base is Hurricane going for that. So that's the next step here.
Yeah. I always just love the way these metas change up over time. Like, Protoss is doing a lot of all-ins. Like, you would never think about doing this. But once they play that very defensive Blink style to stop the Widowmine drops, once Widowmines got buffed, Terrans were just like, oh, we're having a tough time. You know, Protoss can just play defensive and sit back and get up a decent Colossus count, and we're fine.
Just going to walk some Stalkers over here. Meanwhile, he's got the Oracle in the main base, you know, or near the main base, harassing. But without Stim, and without concussive shells, he can actually just out-micro this unit composition easily.
Yeah, look at this. He's even going to have to pull the SCVs. He was getting to work on the missile turret, but a big repair there is going to hold it, rather.
Ooh, Hurricane way over-targeting it, especially because of that repair, right? Like, if he had been able to kill it, that would have been a huge deal, but he stopped microing after he was right-clicking on it while the repair was going on, allowing those bio units to push this back. And I start to worry a lot for Hurricane here because this damage has not been enough. A huge stim here, actually, trying to catch these Stalkers. Concussive Shell is not ready yet, so he's going to have to stim twice if he wants them. And I still think that most of them will escape, if not all of them. Unless he stims a third time, in which case it's not worth it.
Yeah, those are some pretty weak bio units over there. But just to complete my thought from earlier, like, now it's just going into Terran's going to take an extremely fast third base, which will allow the Protoss to do exactly the same. And we're going to have some very, like, long macro games, at least 3-base versus 3-base in PvT.
Yeah, this meta has
for a
changed.
While.
Yeah,
I like it.
I like it too. It's just honestly like a bit more complicated and a bit more fun, I feel. There's a lot more decision-making that has to go into something like this. A few more Oracle kills here, forcing another stim, forcing another return to the main base here. And skipping on units here to defend, definitely going to come back to bite him. 8 kills, 9 kills. Going to get a 10th there. Will he escape? I don't think.
Looks like he will.
He's going to try to chase it? Oh, he's going to try to surround it.
Yeah. Very interesting bio or micro there. Not sure where the bio was on the map. Looks like he was just trying to cut it off, but he hadn't pushed it out of his own base just yet, so kind of interesting there. We do have this third base up now, and KeeN only now scouts it. I think he could have assumed it earlier on just because of the lack of pressure. from Hurricane, but he was thinking about putting on that pressure, but once he sees those 2 Colossi, he's like, nope, I can't do that yet.
Let's see how good KeeN is at macro. He already took a lot of losses earlier on. Now, Flash, I feel, would be in a much better position here because they're taking less damage. And, like, considering Hurricane scouting, right? They're taking less damage in this situation and would be more equipped to do a bigger follow-up push, whereas KeeN, his worker count is hurt. He's actually down in supply. He's losing SCVs to a lone Zealot. Fake Warp wasn't going to come over here.
Forces a stim, actually.
Yeah.
Another Oracle, or actually the same Oracle coming in. 12 kills total.
KeeN is gearing up to do the same sort of 3 ghost push. If he does it without the ghosts, he's just doing it with a massive amount of Vikings. It'll hit faster. But I feel like the window may already be missed. There goes that Oracle. Finally takes care of it. Many, many kills later, like a dozen plus. He's going 4 Vikings at a time. He's going to have 1-1, but already 1-1 is about to be completed here for his opponent.
Yeah, even starting that +2 armor now. He's adding an armory and a second eBay. It'll be interesting. I think if he is going to go for any kind of push, it will come a lot later, just after seeing him committing to more upgrades here.
Starts to feel like maybe going to be a like a 2-2 with 3 ghosts sort of scenario.
Yeah, could be. We do see KeeN doing a very nice thing, actually. He's putting Hurricane in a bit of a nervous spot, forcing him to split up his entire army. He's keeping a big bunch of bio near the front of that natural. And he's trying to fight, it looks like, the top half, possibly. He gets the scan on it, and let's see if KeeN takes this opportunity.
He's going up here. Vikings in decent position, actually, to already start getting some volleys off here. 1 Colossus falls. He targets the second one here. Getting very low. The Stalkers actually blink back.
Oh, but the second Colossus survives, and he's losing the fight. He's losing so many Vikings up here on the top part of this fight.
Yeah, on the bottom part, that second Colossus does go down, but it's already done its damage, and the Stalkers can actually now blink and chase. I think this is a huge overcommitment here by KeeN, and he's going to pay the price. 1 blink forward will actually catch these medevacs. He goes for the Viking instead a bit later. And the bio might die to another blink. Let's see if he commits.
I don't think he can commit through this line of sight blocker. KeeN's going to actually go for the rocks here and stop this push. But just like you said, a bit of an overcommittal there. And now Hurricane is totally fine to just take that 4th base, even continue getting his own upgrades. He's going to have Charge and Storm for the next time KeeN comes around. So
his army is totally worn down. He's going to have a Ghost Academy here for a way late push. Supplies tell the story here. This is never a bad never a good situation for the Terran, never a bad situation for the Protoss to be up almost 20 supply. You're going to have Storm. You're already up in upgrades, and you can continue that lead with Chrono Boost. In fact, he could start the +3 armor upgrade whenever he has the money for it. Like, he's already got +2 armor.
See that lone Zealot trying to do some damage once again.
Looks like he wants to even maybe see if there's a 4th base, anything he can find, because he knows he's massively ahead. If there's a 4th base, he could probably go crush it. If there's not, he just continues to get Storm, continues to set up defensively with his own 4th, reach max. Another Zealot sneaks in here.
It's like Hurricane's trademark. He just sends in like 1 or 2 Zealots. He doesn't overcommit. It's kind of...
I kind of like it, actually.
Yeah. It's kind of... I don't know. It forces a similar reaction of bringing back some bio to deal with it. Doesn't quite do the same amount of damage, but you're not spending as many minerals.
It's kind of counterintuitive, but somehow still works. It's almost like the idea of the pressure more than the damage itself. He's actually going to get spotted here with this Warp Prism. Let's see how KeeN responds. I think he's got Vikings in position. Yeah, he's going to go and hunt that down. Goodbye, Warp Prism.
Yeah, talking about saving some minerals. He's going to want to save some of that, but it's on 4 HP.
He's actually
look at this.
Oh, wow. He's going to come over here. Stalker's coming up to intercept that, try to save the Warp Prism, and then almost gets caught out of position there.
Yeah, I believe the Warp Prism went down.
It did.
Yeah. We do see KeeN trying to once again put on that pressure towards the main. He is about to finish up 2-2 here. He could try to turn around. No, he's just going to try to once again pull apart this Protoss army. Come from many different angles.
So much so much stimming, actually, for KeeN. Like, a lot of his army is so low. Big Doom drop here in the main. The Stalkers blink up. The Colossi can just walk up to chase. They're going to be in a bit of an awkward position here, actually. This is a good arc for KeeN's army.
Yeah, not the most tanking here. Only one Zealot coming in, and another one filtering in as well. It will eventually be cleaned up, but does the damage, at least, of pulling apart this Protoss army?
He failed his multitasking a bit. He lost a lot of his other part of his bio, which was so low from that stimming I was talking about, to just a group of Zealots. So again, a massive lead here to Hurricane. I know you guys can't see it, but like so much of this bio is in the red. The main army is fully healed. The main army that's with all the medevacs, but all these little small pieces of the army that are running around and stimming a lot are so low, they need to be healed. They're just going to fall in seconds to the Zealots, because they're also the part of the army that's in the front, where the Zealots are going to be running right into with their soon-to-be +3 armor.
And look at this extremely scary army of Hurricane. He's got 8 High Templar. There are 6 Ghosts on the map. They do have to be positioned. They do have to land those EMPs. So far, not the best splitting here from Hurricane on those High Templar, and he's looking to fight straight through this choke. See how well he can engage here.
This is crazy. He's actually just going to go through this, and KeeN's going to let him. Huge EMP on most of that army, though. The High Templar remain with their energy, but that whole Stalker group, as well as the Colossi, are totally out of energy now. Totally out of shields, I should say.
Yeah, he's got to be very careful. I love the heavy committal to Ghosts here from KeeN, playing that old MVP style, you know, because there's so many Zealots on the map. You can just snipe them down. They do bonus damage to light.
Yeah.
And he can just get a ton of EMPs on the 8 High Templar of Hurricane as well. I think Hurricane, after seeing that many Ghosts, he's kind of lost a bit of confidence. He's looking to actually come from 2 directions this time as well.
Exactly. He wants to take a better engagement. He does not want to be fighting into a choke point through a line of sight blocker against this type of bio. Huge Zealot run by, the biggest one we've seen so far. Will actually be deflected, but does draw some of the bio back. Well, meanwhile, instead of trying to focus on his planetary, well, I take it back, he's going to. Decided to go for the SCVs, but now he's used his blink, and that planetary is doing a ton of damage to these Stalkers.
And it will go down.
There was no SCV to repair.
Yeah.
Zealot's actually doing some work in here because there's a Warp Prism as well now in the mix.
Yeah. 2 DTs, going to force another scan. Looks like he is going to try to run away now, but it should be taken out. And KeeN, I think he thinks that Hurricane has taken too much damage. He wants to go for the throat.
To be totally honest, I think he has. KeeN is going to be able to get into an excellent position here. Look at how he can use these Vikings to zone out the Colossi. Definitely should be.
Oh, these Vikings bunching up the Archon, getting some really sick hits, and the Storms as well.
Storms are decent here, but look at all those weakened Protoss units. All of those EMPs were decent. I was actually going to lose the last of his Colossi to that last Viking shot. Now killing these Warping and Zealots as they come in. KeeN is starting to snowball, and he's got reinforcements coming across the map. It looks like he's actually going to take this one, Valdez. Huge Warping here, though. High Templar coming from behind have no energy.
No energy at all, trying to become Archons, but just like you said, the reinforcements from KeeN, they're grouping up now. He's looking to put the hammer down, but can he really? I mean, he's trying to. The EMP's coming down and the Archons melt. That may just be it.
I think that's going to be it. He does have a ton more units he just warped in, but they're just not able to group together. They're not able to do those damage. Right now, Hurricane has 5 bases in a PvT. He just doesn't have the reinforcements he needs. He's got 900 minerals, but no warp gates to spend them with. They're all on cooldown. This Bioforce is all in the red right now. A few Archon hits or a few good Zealot hits could wipe it out, but it's just not going to happen. He can never regroup, and KeeN is going to take this game.
He's finally gotten a win here for Prime, it seems, somehow. We do see Hurricane finally trying to just group up and make some Archons get some semblance of an army going.
Look at how many kills this one Colossus already gets because his bio is all in the red. It's so low. This is actually a game that the Hurricane gets to come back in. Look at this. He has to scan. Every DT swipe is damaged. The economy is out of control for Hurricane. I like that KeeN is finally starting to split off and actually start dealing with that. If we could actually just get an Archon or 2 on top of that army, he could kill it.
He's trying to. He's trying to desperately.
Oh,
look at his focus.
He saves it. This game is insanely close right now. All these gateways are unpowered.
He gets the Dark Shrine. That is so huge. It's going to be very hard for Hurricane to remake it. It's going to take a lot of time. He's being very careful about how he engages with his 2 Dark Templar that are left. But look at this. All the bios bunched up. He's trying to get those hits with the Archons. He will push KeeN out of the base. And this game somehow is not over.
It's going to continue. A huge econ lead for Hurricane right now, but will it last? KeeN needs to be decisive in all of his movements right now. He knows that reinforcement power is so weak for Hurricane right now because he killed those pylons. He has unpowered many of the gateways. We're actually seeing sentries being warped in right now. He lost his Templar Archive, and that's where he's dumping his gas. He has all this extra gas he would love to dump into Archons, but he can't until that Templar Archive is done. It's about to be finished. He's actually going to take the spike.
The Marines, they're bunching up, but the Archons on move command. Still a ton of bio left over, but the Protoss unit's being warped in.
Those sentries basically worthless in this fight. And it looks like the bio is just too much, even though it's mostly Marine. He does push through. Now going to take this base out as well. You know, it's just that Hurricane can never amass a force. He's going to lose his Templar Archive again, which means no more Templar, no more Storms, and no more Archons.
He just warped in 5 High Templar right before that went down, but he's going to have to wait a small while here before he can get some more Storms out. And all the while, he's bleeding.
Yeah, look at KeeN's gas right now as well. He just, Marines. He's just trying to remax as quickly as possible out of all his reactor barracks. Now, this Nexus is going to go down as well. And this means basically no more economy for Hurricane. Now, the main base of KeeN has been moved to that backdoor expansion. The gold base is still up as a planetary. And he's actually now able to afford medevacs. And this is the last army that Hurricane's ever going to have.
Yeah, it looks like he's just giving up on his economy. He's going to fight with the probes. Really nice Storms coming down, but KeeN microing out of them.
This is actually still a close game. He needs to make sure he keeps those Zealots alive, and the High Templar especially. All this bio is so low right now. Can't even, I can't even describe it.
The Storm at like one hit 10 Marines there. The big problem right now is that KeeN still has that gold base.
Yeah, he's still producing, but if these... Okay, this is the army he needs to deal with. If he can actually get on top of this brush, he can stop reinforcements, but KeeN still has this mobile force that has those medevacs to heal. He needs to save these medevacs as well. Does not want to lose them. They're so crucial to him right now. They will secure him this win.
He can't be giving away free units right now. This game is so close.
Okay, KeeN has a massive advantage because the medevacs will recharge energy. And now Hurricane can't make units. I think eventually he should be worn down here if KeeN just micros well, and it's starting to already happen. A very close finish here, but KeeN will take it. Oh my god. Now being revealed is Hurricane.
Hurricane's going to stick in it for a while. No, he's not. GG. KeeN, he takes a win for Prime. He's done it. We were talking about how maybe Solar and Armani were the weak links here for Samsung, but Hurricane recently getting into Code S, going to go down to KeeN, getting only his second win of the season.
And I just like to see what I see in this game. To be totally honest, if I have to give my opinion, is KeeN playing how he wants to play and not how someone else is telling him how to play. You know, I see like his plays like, no, you know what, I'm actually gonna take a third base. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. He's like, no, I can hold it. I know this build. I put the turret at the third base. I'm gonna go late game, and I will win late game versus the Frost. A better upgrade to me with Mass Ghost.
You know,
and his positioning on the map was good as well. Behind the line of sight blockers, always having those arcs that he needed.
The way he approached the map as well, just the way he was splitting up the Protoss army, attacking into the main, dropping. He didn't do it very often, but he was always threatening. And it looked like Hurricane just eventually went down to the pressure. I think KeeN had a very good read as well onto what kind of Protoss Hurricane was, which allowed him to take that very early third base. I think he was like, okay, this guy is very passive. I can force this late game and use this map to win this game in TVP.
Really, really, really well played by KeeN.
Yeah, great game actually. But guys, we're going to take a 3-minute break. When we come back, we'll get to game number 3.